on, that's wrong. Yeah, it's going well. There we go. Right. Good now, everyone. I hope this broadcast finds you well. My name is Artorius Winchester, Scholar of the Dreaming Glade, and welcome back to another installment in the VTuber Cocktails series, where I make fun alcoholic drinks and beverages based on VTubers that you might know. I hope everyone's doing well. Apologies if there was a bit of audio scuff for those of you who've been sitting in pre-stream there for a bit. I forgot to deactivate my normal music and then put on the lovely Valhalla soundtrack in the background, which I hope isn't too loud, isn't too overpowering. Hey, hopefully we are all set up. It looks fine on OBS. I just have to trust your people's good judgment to, tell me if it's not, essentially. But yeah, so I hope everyone's doing well. I guess I should also send out another little apology for the fact that this is technically, August stream, I think. And I think it's slightly late by a week. So yeah, apologies about that. Had a little bit of trouble getting these drinks to cooperate, I guess. The recipes I had in mind needed a little longer to refine. And also I've had just, again, a very busy couple of weeks, but when is there a month these days that I'm not busy? I can't really keep saying, oh, well, I was busy, Gotta find the time. Can't always just lean on that excuse, as it were. But yeah, so I guess I'll just roll right into the first drink we're going to be making, which is for a good friend of the stream who's been on with collabs a couple of times, the Blood and the Clock Tower one specifically. If you know him, you know him, and if not, then you should go check him out. We are looking at none other than Methrael. Who I could have sworn I'd already made a cocktail for when I was planning this out, many weeks ago. I was like, oh, I could make a drink for Methrael. No, I'm pretty sure I've already done them. And I look back through, and I don't think I actually have. So if this is a weird duplicate, then, whoops, but I'm, 95% sure it's not. But yeah. So anyway, Methrael, let's get into our 4 bars of what this drink kind of shook out to be like. So, on the bitter-sweet scale here, we're looking at slightly sweet. It's mainly because we're, quite spirit-forward in this drink. The notes that are there are quite sweet. Cocktail time. Hi there, Mala. Nice to see you. Indeed, it is cocktail time. So, yeah, as I said, we're leaning slightly sweet on this one. Going fairly spirit forward, which is where that kind of which is why it's less sweet than it maybe could be. But I still would hesitate to call it bitter, so that's where we're landing on that. On the strength scale, as I've just said, quite spirit forward, quite strong. Not as strong as you might think, given some of the ingredients in this cocktail, but, decent whack of strength nonetheless. And I think that's kind of needed with, Methrael's, I guess, lore pertaining to the lucid lounge and dreams and kind of dream theory in general. He's also kind of a fellow scholar of dreams like myself, in a way. But yeah, so to make sure we get that, those good dreams going, we're going to need a drink that might knock a few people out. But, only after a couple. We're not looking for the one-shot people. That's how you get the bad dreams. No one wants that. On the complexity scale, we are looking dead simple. It's a very standard, throw some ingredients in a shaker, shake them up, pour them in a glass. The garnish isn't even that complicated on this either, to be fair. As it's not really on either of the drinks last night, although I do have a funny anecdote about the garnish for the, garnish air quotes, I guess, for the second cocktail, but that's getting very ahead of myself there. So we're going to be keeping this one fairly simple. And finally, as you can probably guess, yeah, it's a cold drink. It's still the middle of summer. Or at least it feels like it in here. Doesn't help I'm wearing a jumper at the minute, to be fair. But, needs must for the stream. So, other little notes about this drink. So, I wanted a medium to high strength cocktail with a dreamlike shimmer. So, as I kind of said, we want this to be, I think, reasonably strong is befitting. And this dreamlike shimmer, I have employed a little bit of, I guess, visual flair that I must have bought for something. But I cannot remember where I bought this particular item. Like, I've definitely used it in a cocktail in the past, but I can't remember where. Anyone who... I'll point it out when I use it in the drink. But yeah, anytime... well, as and when I bring it up, sorry, if someone can say, oh yeah, that was totally part of this thing, if anyone happens to remember, I would be, yeah, very grateful. Because I cannot remember what I used this in for the life of me, but it must have been something, because I don't just have random bits of this thing lying around. In other news as well, while we're on the subject of Methriel, they're getting a new outfit on September 16th, which is just over a week from now. You should go check that out. It's probably going to be really cool. Not really related to the drink, that one, but, you know. I've got to help a fellow dreamer out, as it were. And on that note, I will now reveal the name of the drink, now presenting the Velvet Dreamweaver, which is a name I'm pretty proud of, and is also somewhat kind of draws back to what this drink is based on. So I'm going to, well, actually, first and most exciting thing for me, at least from a production end, I've learned from past mistakes. So instead of having to spend ages typing this out, I've got these ready to copy-paste in, although I am blocking that, which is somewhat annoying. Let me resize myself a little. I'm shrinking. There we go. And move myself across. There we go. So, the Velvet Dreamweaver. Which means it's now time to hand over to our handy-dandy hand cam. Hello there, everyone. I will try and not shake the table while I wave like that, because if I have my wrist resting on this, it shakes everything, which is not great. So, I'll reach back over here. Get our shakers out and our jigger. There we are. As much as you can with these gloves on. Probably pour into the smaller one. So, the first ingredient in a Velvet Dreamweaver is going to be 3/4 of an ounce of this delightful stuff. Now this is, hold the label there so you can see it. This is Ellis Butterfly Pea Scottish Gin. So it's a type of gin made with the butterfly pea flower, I believe? Oh, butterfly pea extract. So just bits of the butterfly pea plant, essentially. But give it this lovely blue colour. Which I felt was, fitting with the colour scheme of Methriel. It's kind of very on-brand. You may say, well, I watch a lot of Methriel, because of course you do, because you should. And, they've got blue, they've also got purple. To which I say, hang on, I'm getting there. I'm going to try and make this work. Admittedly, I haven't actually tried this garnish before, but at least the thought's going to be there, and I think it'll look pretty snazzy. But yeah, anyway, so we want 3/4 of an ounce of this, so we're going to want... This is 1/2 ounce, so a full one of these. And 1/2 of that again. Which I'm going to say comes to about there. Probably a fairly weighty half, to be fair, but it'll do fine. Oh, there we are. We've got our first inaugural mic punch of this stream. No, not mic punch, sorry, camera punch. I'm in terms all over the place. Yeah, there we go. First ingredient in the bag. Our second ingredient, and something that's going to be contributing to the strength of this drink quite a lot, is, if I reach over and grab it, we're going to be using 1/4 of an ounce of Spirytus. Now, I brought this up on a stream a couple of times before for a couple of different VTubers. But in case you're wondering what Spirytus is, look no further than the ABV. That's a sturdy 95%. This is the stuff that they sell with a health warning to say, like, hey, don't drink this neat, like, ever. Just don't. It's not worth it. And it's a warning I shall pass on to the rest of you should you ever, want to brew these cocktails at home. Don't be a hero. Don't try and, like, shot this. It'll just kill you, probably. Also, I'm not a medical expert, so take everything I say with a pinch of salt, but seriously, also, though, don't try and drink this neat. So, in this particular cocktail, we're only going to want, as we normally do with Spirytus, just a quarter of an ounce of this. And I'm going to try and make this not quite as weighty a quarter of an ounce as I did with the gin. Because it's strong stuff. We don't need a lot of it. So, about there, I'm thinking. Just a quarter of an ounce of Spirytus. Oh. Getting really good at punching my mic. Not mic, camera at the minute. Right, there we go. Then we're going to want another quarter of an ounce of another blue ingredient, actually. So this is Blue Curcao. Now, you've probably seen so far. Well, actually, first off, little known fact. I say little known fact. Fact you might not know about Blue Curcao. Now, for those of you who aren't into your mixology and that, you'll never guess, unless you just saw me show the label there, what this is made of. It's made of oranges. This is a citrus type thing. Don't ask me how it gets to be blue. I don't know either. But this is going to give us, like, obviously it'll help a bit with the blue colouring, which is what it's mostly used for in drinks. But also I'm going to try and, you know, take advantage of some of its more citrusy elements to pair nicely with the gin. Because gin and, like, quite sharp citrus like you find in triple sec or curacao type things tend to go together really well. Also, you know, I think limes can work pretty damn nicely too. So just a quarter of an ounce, because the only downside to Blue Curcao and why a lot of people don't like using it is that it can taste very synthetic. Because, I mean, yeah, you've made something from oranges and made it blue. I don't know what the fuck happened to do that, but that's some chemical bullshit. I'm going to go for a little more on the Blue Curcao, actually. There we are. Call it about a half an ounce that's about yay big. But yeah, so just a little bit of that complements the colour, gives it a little bit of citrusy flair without making me feel like I've ingested a vat of chemicals. And finally, I guess technically our final ingredient, we have 1 ounce of sweet and sour mix, which is something I've hand brewed. What this is essentially is 1 part lemon juice, 1 part lime juice, 1 part sugar, 1 part water, so all equal in weight. Shoved in a pan, boiled, left to cool, filtered a few times to get most of like the actual like flesh of the lemon and lime fruits that I juiced out of it. Put in this bottle, put in the fridge for a bit. Lasts for about a month or two. So I've been looking to use this up, and I thought, ooh, we're making a gin drink. We want some kind of like citrusy flair in it. We've got orange. Why not add lemon and lime to the mix as well? Plus, it'll also give a bit of a sweetness to help really bring out those flavours and the flavour of the gin. So we're going to 1 ounce of this. So half an ounce there. I'm doing this in 2 half an ounces, even though I've got a 1 ounce on the back of this. Purely because it means I can put this down on like my table without like getting a sticky ring I have to clean off later. There we go. Alright. And that is all the main ingredients in a Velvet Dreamweaver. Now, you'll have to give me just 1 second. I am going to be right back with some ice. Yeah, so back in just 2 ticks, and then we'll get shaking this. And we are back. Right, hello, hello, hello. So, got my handy dandy ice tray here, which actually have stood to put a bit more ice in. So we're going to want to add, I normally like to do about 4 or 5 of these little kind of ice hexagons, as it were. So, what am I feeling? I think 4 today will suffice. So, I'm going to put these 4 in here. We're going to roll that into our larger shaker. Put this on. And with that, I'll move that out of the way as well. It's time to get shaking. Go. Now, I might do a bit more of my shaking behind the camera this stream. Mainly just because... oh, sorry, excuse me. Mainly just because I've done my back in over the past month, and trying to do this kind of like acrobatics to shake in front of the camera while kind of like hugging my entire mic camera setup. It's a bit of a pain in the butt. So, here we are. Before the ice goes down, I will do a bit behind the mic so you can all hear it, and then we'll finish it off, we'll finish it off in front. It looks like it's coming through on OBS. I sure hope it is. Yeah, sounds like it's definitely getting there on the ice front, so I'm just gonna again shake it a bit in front until we've got that all sorted. I'm then gonna grab a glass for this drink, which is actually on the wrong side, which is gonna annoy me a bit. Oh well. In fact, hold on, let me just double check the ice has gone in this. Yep, definitely sounds like it is. Okay. A splash of blue on my bar top here, I guess. Right, so we're gonna open this up. We're then gonna ooh, wow. That's a good smell when you open that. So we're gonna wanna pour the drink into here. There we are. You could theoretically strain this in if you didn't filter your sweet and sour mix. I have, so I'm not going to bother. What we're then going to do is we're going to want to top this drink. So you can probably see that's only half a glass. With some lemonade. Which I have right here. I just need to open it up. Yeah, right. Try and carefully pour some of this new bottle of lemonade in. It's always a challenge with gloves. Go. Ooh. Yeah, you can really tell that's a new bottle, huh? Yeah, I think that'll probably do. Let me just try and get the cap back on this. Oh, the gloves. The things we do for anonymity, hey? He says, waving a giant reflective bleener. Cocktail shaker in front of his camera, but oh well. And then, finally, our final little bit of garnish, and the thing I was kind of alluding to earlier, I want to move that way, is, because this is very blue at the minute, and I'm sure the blue-purple crowd that I mentioned earlier that religiously watch Methrioel, can be very annoyed that it isn't purple. So, here's my antidote to that, my fix. I've got some edible glitter in violet colour. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit of that to this. Yeah, get some glitter on my gloves as well, because why not? There we go. So I'm not sure how fast this comes out. We're just gonna tap it and see. Okay, not too bad. Well, that's something. actually looks quite nice. Looks like a kind of a feng shui garden, almost. You know, I'm going to take a photo of it like this, and then I'm going to stir it round and have it kind of like distribute in. And I'm going to take another photo of it, and then I'll pick the better one for Twitter later. Or Twitter and Blue Sky, I should say. Right, so there's one. Now let me get my bar spoon. Give this a mix. Oh, there we go. That's changed the colour of the drink quite dramatically, actually. Huh. Funny. The effervescence actually turns the kind of the foam purple from the lemonade. Oh, that's looking really good now, though. I'm going to give this a bit more of a mix. Maybe a little slower, because I think I'm going over at the back there. Yeah, that's the stuff. So then if I try and hold this up to the camera as it's moving, you might be able to see, look at that kind of beautiful effect the edible glitter gives it. Really kind of like a swirling kind of, like a swirling bluey purple. I'm very proud of that, actually. And I swear I've done it before, but I can't remember where. Also, in hindsight, probably could have stood to use a little less edible glitter, but damn sure it'll be fine. Because that really has dramatically darkened the colour of the drink. Which I guess means it's actually very cool, because it means it's a blue one that changes to purple when you, like, stir it. Yeah, hold on, I'm going to hold this up again, because can't let a visual effect like that go to waste. Look at that. Magnificent. Okay, and once again, take another photo of it there. Without the bling pop there, though, actually. Can we... Is that just glitter? I think that might just be glitter, actually. Okay. Sure, we'll go with that. Right. But anyway, enough photographing the thing. I think it's high time we gave it a try. Let's see if this tastes as good as it looks. Oh boy, howdy does it. That's so good. Those of you who are worrying about the glitter affecting the texture of a drink, I can say from experience, don't. The thing is, like, fine enough where you really don't notice it in amongst all the other kind of liquids that's in there. With regards to the actual flavour, though, I mean, at the end of the day, it's a fairly simplistic drink on the flavour front. It's, you know, a tried and true combo. It's gin and citrus. You get, you know, a nice hit of sweetness from the sweet and sour mix and the lemonade. Definitely think, obviously, you know, maybe I could have stood to use a little less lemonade here, or I could have upscaled the other drinks. It's, you know, it's about finding what's right for your glass size. But I still think that tastes very good. Like, you definitely get a good hit of the Butterfly Pea Gin in there. Spirytus is obviously not present in terms of anything more than, like, it being a bit alcohol forward. But, you know, if you have a couple, it'll definitely be present then. It's really refreshing, I think, is the thing about this drink. It's really, really refreshing. It's exactly the kind of tint you'd want on, like, a hot summer's day. Which is great for me, because I'm sweating cobs over the back here. But, yeah. It's, like I say, there's not really much of, like, a flavor journey I can guide you through. It's just, like, yeah, gin and citrus is a really good mix. And I've made it look a little fancier. But, you know, at the end of the day. But, hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And hopefully the extra visual flair will be something that my good friend Methriel appreciates. That's so good. That is so good. Whew. Right, well. I hope you all enjoyed that first drink. One down, I would say it's a pretty rousing success. Let me just check. How much did I actually spill over the back here? Was it any? Was I just freaking out over nothing? I was freaking out over nothing. Cool. My gloves are a little purple from the glitter now, though, which I guess is just something the next drink's going to have to deal with. Oh, actually, I'm going to have to go in for another one of that. No, excuse me while I just take a little 5-minute sip. It really is kind of like a little kind of like refreshing oasis. Magnificent. I love how actually the more I kind of drink this, the more I think, you know, during the stirring, maybe because I use quite such a fresh bottle of lemonade, but the gin is sitting more at the bottom of this drink currently. Like, maybe I could have done with shaking a bit more. Maybe there's something I could do with the lemonade. You know, little tweaks like that. But I'm starting to get, like, the sharper notes of the gin. Whereas at the top, I was obviously, you know, like, yeah, this is quite sweet. But now, like, the further I drink it down, I'm like, oh, yeah, actually, hold on. There's gin here, and it's doing good things. And I think that's why, that's why gin works so well with citrus, because gin's a very unique flavor most of the time, unless you buy some, like, you know, like the unicorn gin or, like, bubblegum gin or whatever. But, like, most gins have this, let me give it another taste. Yeah. Most gins have this property that I can't say I've ever eaten or had any tea related to this before, but I said they'd almost got this, like, pine needly kind of, sharpness to them. When it's that very kind of like, oh, yeah, this is, you know, this is here, this is present, this is, herby in that very specific pine needly kind of way. And if you mix that with, like, you know, lemon, with lime, with orange, with... You could probably try grapefruit if you're really brave, although that might be too bitter. You get this kind of, like, wonderful marriage of two very strong flavors that complement each other very well. But again, I'm kind of just talking around, hey, gin and citrus work well together again. So before I talk myself in circles once more... I am going to go and run and, excuse me. I'm going to go and run and just very quickly clean out my cocktail shakers, ready for the next drink. I'll be back in about 5 minutes. Stay tuned for our next VTuber. Or next cocktail based on that VTuber. Back soon. And we are back. Thank you all very much for holding on for a few minutes there. Oh, Antipixel, more of a lurking right now, but hi. Hello there, thank you for stopping by. Lurking, absolutely fine. Yeah, no problem with that at all. Like, any support is good support, and, you know, as long as I can entertain you, you don't feel like you have to chat back at all. You know me, I'll, particularly after a couple of drinks, witter on about something completely inane for a while anyway, so if that's what you're here for, boy, have I got a treat for you. Oh. But, yeah, anyway. So we're now moving from Methrael onto our next VTuber, who some of you might recognize the silhouette for from the thumbnail. Our next VTuber is none other than Ozura Subaru. Kind of the best part? You flatter me, Antipixel. Thank you very much. But yeah, our next VTuber is going to be Ozura Subaru of Hololive 1st gen? Damn, how did I forget what gen she was? I'm pretty sure she's 1st gen. But yeah, anyway. So, this is a VTuber I've actually been... I'll go into this a bit later as well. This is a VTuber I've been wanting to make a drink for a while, but pinning down what exactly to make for her, partly because I admire her so much, and also partly because, obviously she, like, from what I know of her, she's quite, like, you know, a lightweight when it comes to alcohol, and doesn't normally kind of dip her toes into that kind of region, which is fair. You know, made this a little more difficult than normal, so I had to go, searching for inspiration on this one, but I found it in a couple of places. But before I get to that, which I think I might have actually mentioned on the notes slide now that I think about it, let's bring up those bars and see where we're sitting. So on the bittersweet scale, of course we're making a sweet drink. We're making a pretty sweet drink, actually. If it weren't for maybe a little hint of, like, coffee and citrus in this one, and I mean hints of, not like dominant parts, but little hints of, this would probably be a very sweet drink, maybe overly sweet. But as for now, we're talking like, you know, kind of high sweetness, but not, you know, not going to rot your teeth. On the strength side, we've gone just north of kind of the neutral point into slightly strong. Now, I say this with a couple of caveats. So first off, obviously, as I mentioned there, I know that Subaru doesn't normally, you know, or is, like, it's a bit of an alcoholic lightweight in her own words, I believe. You know, she doesn't normally dip her toes into the worlds of, like, alcoholic beverages, and therefore isn't really, like, you know, I guess, proficient in handling a liquor, shall we say? It's Moriro Hito-san. Konbanwa. Ogenki desu. Also, my apologies for not adding san to the end of your name for a while. I know that's a thing in Japan, and I think I was just excited to see, like, a Japanese-speaking viewer, and completely missed it for the last 2 streams. I am terribly sorry about that. But yeah, Itsumo Hirohito-san. I hope you are doing very well. We are currently making some VTuber cocktails, and I'm just kind of hashing out the thought process behind making a drink for Ozura Subaru from Hololive. So, as I was saying, you know, she's perhaps, you know, like a bit of an alcoholic lightweight. I don't want to make anything like too, you know, blow your head off strong. But the way this kind of drink came to be, it doesn't taste strong, but you definitely feel it. Like, you definitely feel it even after, like, one of these. You're like, woo, okay. That had more in than I bargained for. I'm not entirely sure what it is about this drink that does this. There could be a couple of things. But yeah, it's stronger than it looks, but it doesn't taste strong. So I'm hoping I've hit kind of a sweet spot there. With regards to complexity, we're still fairly simple. Yeah, I mean, I guess I've put this here more because I'm miffed about the garnish situation than anything else. I might fall asleep because I'm on a bed. That is completely fine. As I was saying to Antipixel, you know, lurkers, sleepers, anyone who doesn't want to chat, still welcome to, you know, be in the stream. You are appreciated all the same. And if I knew how to say that in Japanese, I guess, nemuru okay is the best I've got. Oh. God, Lord knows I might be doing it. after a couple of these fine cocktails, because I'm going to have to finish these after stream. That normally leads to a good night's sleep, let me tell you. But yeah, so we're going simplicity. Honestly, I don't think this is actually any more complex than the what do I call it? Velvet Dreamweaver, there we go, that I just made for Methrael. But, yeah, there's a whole thing with the garnish that I'm going to get into that is purely why this is here. This is a personal point of contention. And finally, it's still a cold drink. And there probably will be both cold drinks next month as well, because that'll be September stream. But October, I do have plans to try and make a hot one. Because I think I've got a really good idea for it. Will I manage it? God, I sure hope so. I've got about 2 months to prep for it, to be fair. So, additional notes on this cocktail. So this drink takes inspiration from 2 places. The melon soda, which you can actually see whenever Subaru's doing just chatting. She normally have like a little desk she's at with like a melon soda, which is a popular type of thing in Japan. I actually tried it while I was over there last year. The weirdest thing about melon soda is that I can't say it tastes anything like melon. It tastes more like vanilla Coke if it like full committed. It's like vanilla Coke is like, oh, it's kind of sweeter Coke. It's got vanilla-y elements, but you know, it's like, okay. Melon soda is like, no, we are like 4,000% vanilla and you will like it. And I did like it, to be fair. But like, that's kind of partly where this is taken inspiration from. It's like, okay, we've got those very vanilla notes, interestingly. And 2 existing cocktails that are kind of relatives of each other called the Fuzzy Duck and the Fluffy Duck. For hopefully obvious reasons. It's Shuba. It's Subaru. Of course we're making it kind of, you know, tangentially duck related. It would be heinous not to, I think. So, Subaru's a VTuber I wanted to make a drink for a while, but it took me a while to finally get it right. Yeah, she's been on the books for, God, definitely a long while. Trying to think of how long exactly I've been trying to make a drink for her. Like, she's been floating around in the back for maybe 5 cocktail streams now. But I've just never quite been able to commit to a drink that I think does her justice. Like I say, you know, I was having that whole issue with, oh, well, she's an alcoholic lightweight, but the things I keep making are, like, quite strong. Because, to be fair, a lot of the drinks I make are quite strong because I only want to make 2 or 3 and have that do me for an evening. I don't have to go back for cocktail number 7, because when you start trying to make cocktails on cocktail number 7, that's when you kind of lose all motor control and the shakers don't work so good. It's a recipe for disaster, so make them while you're sober, make them strong, enjoy them for the rest of the evening. That's my tip to you, for those of you fellow mixologists out there, which is never a term I've really vibed with, I'm going to be honest, but that's when the controls get randomized. Yeah. Occasionally someone will just flip gravity, and it's like, well, how am I meant to make a cocktail under these conditions? Oh. But yeah. So, oh, that's the cocktail name. I should probably reveal that. So, and I've got a little story for this one as well, actually. So we're now presenting Subaru's drink, the Faithful Duck. Now, you can probably see where I've mainly taken inspiration from. It's like, okay, we've got a fuzzy duck, we've got a fluffy duck. Is there like another word beginning with F that I can put on the front of this that, like, really embodies Subaru? And for a while, I was actually going to go with the fighting duck, because Subaru's, you know, lore, as it were, is that she's the head of, like, an MMA society in, like, a school, or possibly an esports one, but she also does MMA. And I was like, okay, so maybe, like, the fighting duck. But I think, A, that's obscure, and B, fighting duck makes this drink sound like a lot scarier than it is. Like I say, you know, if we were going for a stronger drink, we would absolutely maybe call it a fighting duck. But because I've tried to tone it back a little bit, even if it's just on the, like, palate front, I needed another, you know, word beginning with F. And I landed on faithful, and I quite like that. Although, I'd be interested to see if anyone could think of, you know, another word that embodies Subaru a bit better that begins with F. But for now, I'm sticking with Faithful Duck. Which means I'm going to need this copied over. God, the technology I have for the stream is insane. Think that I used to type all this in while leaning over past my mic, which, like, no wonder my back got messed up. But there we go, now I can just do all that with a mouse. So, The faithful duck. Let's get right into making it, shall we? Which means we're going to need handy dandy hand cam back. As well as these shakers, which have just been washed out. So, the first ingredient in a faithful duck is we're going to honor that kind of melon, that kind of melony melon soda tradition, and try and keep it sweet by putting in 2.5 ounces. That is right, 2.5 whole ounces of Midori, which is melon liqueur. Now you might think 2.5. Oh, no, that's quite a lot. Are you sure this isn't going to be oversweet? This is another reason why this drink took a while to make. I've played around with the ratios on this one. Oh, sorry, is my camera lagging? Right, just testing. We're a bit stuttery, maybe, but I think we're mostly fine. So I'm going to go with it. But yeah. So I played around with the ratios on this drink for a while. I think this is the best version of it that I've got. Here we are. 1. Could it stand a bit of further refinement? I mean, to your tastes, sure. This might be too sweet for you. You might not be able to taste the Midori in it at all. I have had versions where I had 2 ounces and I was like, yeah, this is still not really present. For my palate, personally. But, it's all in the eye of the beholder, so to speak. Okay, I'm actively here now. I like the gloves. Oh, thank you very much, Antipixel. Yeah, it's all the latest VTuber tech for, I guess these hand cam streams. And by latest, I mean people have been doing it for a while, and I thought, yeah, that's a good idea. Plus, white gloves, I think, look quite smart, actually. Almost kind of like Butler-esque. There we are. 2.5 ounces of Midori. Which is a lot of Midori. But hear me out here. We'll get round to the balancing element of this. I'm going to start it with adding in another kind of like base spirit that's going to help bind a lot of this stuff together. We're going to do 1 ounce of this White Rum. Now, I've personally here got a Donkey, which is a Puerto Rican rum, which reminds me I should really do an Iron Mouse drink at some point, and you can damn well expect this thing to feature. It's probably why I originally bought this particular bottle. Yeah, people will just agree, let's all wear gloves, probably something immersion, but I think gloves are cool, so yeah, I also agree, gloves are cool. Immersion as well, and to be fair, I've got, like, brown stuff on, which, like, kind of fits my VTuber PNG, so I'm, like, double immersioning here. But, yeah, it's, I don't know. I believe it probably started with the big corporate VTuber saying, like, you have to do this, and then everyone else was like, oh, they're doing it, so we'll do it as well. Tends to be how these things trickle down, I think. Not that there aren't good original ideas in the indie spaces. Lord, no. Yeah, because you're your VTuber PNG. Precisely, Antipixel, yes. So, yeah. Anyway, what was I doing? That's it. An ounce of this fine white rum. Always good to have a base spirit in your drinks. And by base spirit, I mean, like, the normal base spirits are, like, whiskey or, scotch or something like that. Rum, vodka, tequila or mezcal. Another one that I'm forgetting. I think... Did I say vodka? If I didn't, then vodka's the last one. But yeah, generally you always want one of these base spirits to kind of like anchor a drink down and then build on it from there. It's a really good way of like trying to create and mix your own flavors. It's like, start with a base spirit, add some fancy stuff to it, see if you like it. So in this case, we're going to be adding 1 ounce of white rum to our 2.5 ounces of Midori. There we go. And the other thing the Midori is going to do, obviously, as well, and kind of a reason why we need 2.5 ounces of it. You always need a starter to build your own thing, yeah. You can't cook much without a defined side or protein. Yeah, no, precisely that, Antipixel, yeah. Okay. Right. So. We're going to do... Oh, sorry, I've just started pouring this. I haven't even explained my next ingredient, have I? Completely caught me off guard there. Like when I cook, I decide what side I'm making, then what kind of protein, then build on what I feel. That's a very good way of doing it, actually, Antipixel, yeah. With the guys are cooking, I'm much more of just a follow the recipe and maybe jimmy it about later type thing. But yeah, building stuff from the ground up, yeah, you probably could do some really cool stuff like that. But anyway, sorry, next ingredient is Baileys. Which might seem like a bit of an odd choice here. But this is where the Fluffy and Fuzzy Drop inspiration comes in, because they both use this kind of, well, at least one of them uses this kind of, like, liqueur, as it were. So, I've tried it myself. My aunt loves that stuff, alcoholic chalky milk. Oh, absolutely, yeah. No, I gotta admit, this has been sitting at the back of my reserves for a little while. I, not uncorked it, but opened it when I was first trying out this drink. And yeah, it's marvelous stuff. So we're gonna do an ounce of this. Go. Go. Right. And then we've got our last ingredient. So you can see this is kind of like, you know, still fairly green, but it's looking quite milky now. Thanks to the Baileys. Do excuse me, I completely lose my train of thought for a second. Hold on. We're back. Right. So, our final... Well, is it our final ingredient? It's basically our final alcoholic ingredient, at least. I like the idea of bartending and making drinks, so I could not be bothered buying the supplies for any variety and creativity. Yeah, it's something you have to, like... The way to get into it is to find a drink you really like, buy the supplies for that, and then look at what you can make outside of that with just, like, one extra ingredient. So it's like, oh, well, you know, I like, you know, I like this drink that uses, like, vodka, apple juice, and, like, peach schnapps, say, for example, or something like that. And they're like, oh, but the vodka can also go with this, and the peach schnapps could also go with this. If I buy these 2 bottles, I can make 2 more drinks. And then you buy those, and you're like, oh, but if I try a different base spirit with, you know, these modifiers I've got, then I can make a few more drinks. And after a couple of years, you end up like me, where you've got, like, a cupboard full of this stuff. But you can just pull out on a whim. Yeah, it's a gradual collector's hobby, I believe. And speaking of things I'm going to pull out on a whim, we're going to add our final ingredient, which is this thing, which I've just uncapped, which is triple sec. Now, this is a quite sharp, citrusy flavor, but most importantly, and this is something I have to add as a special caution when you're working with Baileys or any cocktail that uses milk, does not have citric acid. Do not add orange juice or any kind of citric juice to something that's got milk in, because when you shake it, it'll curdle, and you'll end up with like a thick slab of like curdled gunk on top of your drink, and it doesn't look or taste good. You don't want to do that. So, with that in mind, we're going to add, I'd say a scant half an ounce to the cocktail here, just to give it like a bit of fruity, like citrusy punch. That'll also help to cut through the sweetness of the Midori. So there we are. About half an ounce. Milk powder and carbonated water is the prime example of it. Oh yeah, no. There was a version of this drink I was labbing out that did actually use, like, sparkling water, and I realized very quickly that was also a bad idea. Right. Now, with a bit of luck and following wind this time round, the ice in here, it's melted a little bit, but there should still be enough of it that's good that we can drop, like, 5 or so ice cubes in here. Maybe even 6, because these are a bit melted. There we are. Whoop. 6 ice cubes. It's literally a recreation of spoiled milk, it's funny. Hexagon spotted brain happy. Yep, it's my old hexagon ice cube tray, which I quite like, honestly. It comes with this little lid bit as well, so I can just keep it nice and keep the ice nice and fresh in the fridge. Stops other particulates, I guess would be the word, affecting my ice. But yeah, so with that done, we're gonna roll this into here, and we're gonna do a little bit of shaking. Once again, you know, probably do more of this behind the camera than in front, just because of my poor old man back. Just like the Bartender Flash game. Oh, yeah. And quite a lot like the Bartender game that I've pinched the soundtrack for tonight's stream from. Thank you, Valhalla. Again, I'm really hoping this is picking up on the mic. I'm not sure this hiss will. No, not quite. But the shakers are hissing a little bit, which is always funny when they do that. I always thought about playing it, but never got around to buy it. Well, Antipixel, let me tell you, it comes with a strong recommendation from me. I've played that thing through about 3 or 4 times. Loved it every time. It's a game you really do just sit back with a beverage of your choice and some snacks and just enjoy. Great way to pass an evening. I really, yeah, the hissing isn't audible, only the ice shaking, which is a bit unfortunate, but we'll do what we can. And also, most of the ice is gone now, so I guess we'll finish shaking in front of the camera. Wait. Oh. Excuse me, one of my sleeves came down while I was doing that. Right, there we go. So, let's get our glass. Let's... Yup. There we are. Uncork this. Definitely smells very melony. I'll pour this into here. And then, because that's quite a lot of alcohol, let's be fair, and we don't want this to feel like it's hitting like the like a brick to the face, we're going to top this drink with not sparkling water, as I've learned, but in fact with milk. So, if you're lactose intolerant, I'm so sorry, this is not the one for you. I'm going to top this with milk, like a decent healthy dose of it. Which has made it on the camera look quite just straight white. Man, this is so sad. Oh no, Antipixel, do you happen to be lactose intolerant? Luckily, not really a problem here on the dream version of the British Isles. We have genetics against that. Right, so I'm going to give that a good stir for a little while. Make sure we've got all those ingredients mixed in. And voila. Now, the drink, for all intents and purposes here, is done. I'm not, but carbonated water would be a more exciting beverage, and also a more spoiled one, let's be fair. Oh. Which is, yeah, something I found out the hard way. Let me wipe this off. Now, I did say this drink had a garnish, and I wasn't lying. I thought, in my infinite wisdom, I know it'd be really cute for a Subaru drink. Why don't I get like a little kind of like a tiny version of like a rubber duck? Maybe in white, say. And, it's only an imitation. It's totally safe to drink. Oh. But yeah, I thought, why not get like a tiny little duck and put it on top? So I ordered the smallest number of ducks I could, and I got like a bunch of these little fellas. Look, these little ducks. I thought, oh yeah, have, you know, 1 or 2 of them floating around on the top of the drink. That'd be lovely. One small oversight, because I actually ordered these in. They arrived this morning, and I tested them, and cute, certainly are. Do not choke them. Well, here's the issue, right? If I get a glass of water here, they don't exactly float. Which is kind of an issue. It's like, you're a duck. You had one job. Don't do this. So, what I now have is a lot of ducks in various colors that do not float. So what I've decided I'm going to do instead, for a garnish, for a bit of a photo on this, is I'm going to just kind of line these up. Wait to leave a negative review. Failure. I'm going to... Oh, God, this is going to be so It's going to be so weird with gloves on, actually. I'm going to try and corral a bunch of these ducks into behaving. And then we're just going to have them kind of like here at the bottom. There we go. Get a couple more. When I said I've got a lot of these, I wasn't kidding, by the way. Wait, could you add whipped cream or the similar, more dense liquid? I guess, but the other issue with these ducks is that they are a bit smaller than I was thinking they should be. Which means they're also a choking hazard, which means putting them anywhere near the actual drink, probably not my greatest idea. And a couple more, I think. Maybe one more green one around this side. So there's your garnish, I guess. We've got ducks. And also we have one extra special duck who will add to the cuteness of this tenfold. We have one Relax Time Ozura Subaru, which I got from my trip to Japan. But yeah, so garnish the McGuffery aside, I'd call this a success, I think. So we're gonna take a photo of that. And when I said I had a load of ducks, I wasn't kidding. They literally came in this box and like, I have so many ducks. What do I do with all these ducks? Help, I have 100 tiny colored ducks and I don't know what to do with them after this. Just like, ah. Oh. But, yeah. Problem for me to sort out later, I guess. Just try and move the ducks off camera. Are they out? Yeah, they're out. Right. Oh, God, one of them's escaped. One of them's broke containment. So, yeah. Actually, garnish out the way. You lot have done your job. I'll let a couple of you stay around, but... Let's just put a couple of ducks in front of Subaru, shall we? Glues them together for one big duck that does float. Oh. Sod's Law says that's then too big to fit in here. But you might be onto something there, Antipixel. But yeah. Okay, so let's give this thing a try anyway. Duck malarkey aside, shall we? That is so good. It's strange because, yes, that could probably use another half an ounce of me. No, actually. I'd say that's about right. Let me give it another quick stir. Just to make sure none of the, like, the milk isn't sitting on top of the alcohol, which is at the bottom. But yeah. Because 2.5 ounces, I remember last time, worked out pretty well for the amount of Midori. But, No, it's definitely there. Okay, I just had to give it a stir. Right, we're back, we're back. So, what to say about this drink? It definitely has a sharpness to it that lets you know it's alcoholic, and I think that's mainly the cream, like the kind of the Irish cream, the Baileys, and the triple sec kind of coming through. And you feel like quite a lot on the throat, but on the actual like flavor front, the taste, you've got just kind of like milky, melony, vanilla-y, slightly coffee, kind of just clean fabulousness. It's a very easy drink to drink. Like I say, if it weren't for the little twinge of like, hey, this is definitely alcoholic you get from the triple sec, this would be very dangerous. And the thing with the triple sec as well is that you could cut that down to 1/4 of an ounce instead of a half pretty easily. Like, I quite like it. I think it's doing a lot for this drink, so I put it at 1/2 an ounce. But if it's not your cup of tea and you do just want something that's like melony, milky, coffee, kind of stuff that will send you to sleep pretty quickly, then yeah, by all means, cut it down. You could, I guess, theoretically remove the rum as well if you're really adverse to like the ABV of the drink, which is the alcohol by volume. I don't personally recommend that because of what we said before, you know. Have a base spirit. Use it to build off of. Don't try and mix a bunch of, like, things that enhance base spirits together unless you really, like, know what you're doing. Because, like, there obviously are, you know, some exceptions, some drinks that do work purely off that. But as a general rule, if you're trying to make your own stuff, keep the base spirit in there. God, I'm getting down that so fast, actually. Whew. That is marvelous. Oh. Yeah, I think we've finally done it. I think we finally made a drink that's made, you know, that would make Subaru proud. It looks kind of, I mean, obviously I'm not sure the color comes up. But if I compare it to a white duck, you can probably see that, like, this is more green than that white, right? Or the white of my gloves actually probably works pretty well as well. I forgot I was wearing white gloves. I don't need the duck at all. Oh. But yeah, you can probably see compared to the white of my gloves, this is, like, quite green. Doesn't necessarily show up brilliantly if you just look at it like that. But, yeah. It's a green drink. It's a fairly easy sipper. The ABV is, you know, maybe a bit higher than you'd want in an ideal world, or maybe that Subaru would want, but I think it works fine as a cocktail in my personal arsenal. Obviously, you know, if anyone at home wants to, I advise them to tinker with these, you know, at their own peril or success. Because a lot of these drinks that I make probably can be improved by someone with a little more know-how. But I like to think I make some pretty stellar ones myself as well, for my personal tastes. But yeah. So really, like, I guess have I gone through the flavor profile on this yet? I think I did, yeah, like sharp, kind of like, you know, Bailey's rum, triple sec, kind of like alcohol sting into a, not really a sting. Sting is too harsh a word. It's like a, you know, it's like a, you feel it, and then you get the kind of melony, milky coffee kind of like blanket afterwards, which is, it's a really cozy drink, I think. I think that's true of a lot of drinks that have milk in them. They just tend to be quite cozy. Yeah. Probably some age-old relation between that and, like, you know, the bleeding hot milk some people would have before bed. I mean, not one for the lactose intolerant among you, but if you are indeed tolerant of lactose, try one of these. Get one down you. See if it's your thing. I'm pretty sure that if you like most ingredients, you know, that I've listed by themselves, or had them in things before that you like, this one won't let you down. And with that kind of resounding closing statement, I think, where have I put it? Can I read? There we go. With that, I am probably gonna leave off stream there. So yeah, just over an hour to make those two. I guess the old tech does make time fly a bit faster. Now that I have to lean over and type, and I didn't only have to do one ice run this time. I'm looking to try and get a setup for doing these streams, probably by the start of next year. Now that they'll make, like, for a lot less running around, and a lot less having to use the back soon screen in between. What was I saying? In between, like adding the ingredients and then shaking them. Sorry, don't know where I lost that. Big, massive, huge. Goodbye. Well, nice of you to drop by. Yes, I hope you enjoyed the stream. I know I certainly did, and I'm certainly going to enjoy, at the very least, these two cocktails off stream. I might make myself another one of that Subaru one. But yeah, until then, I've been Artorius Winchester, and I'll see you next time. Farewell.